Your dishes look clean. You washed them, you rinsed them. Tonight, your family eats off those plates. Now run your finger across a dry glass. Feel that faint film? Sometimes that's detergent residue that never fully rinsed away. And the cheaper the bottle, the more of it stays behind on every plate and fork your family puts to their lips. I learned this the hard way. For years, my hands cracked and itched every winter. I blamed the cold, bought thicker lotion, wore gloves. Then I switched dish soaps, and within 3 weeks, my hands healed. It was never the weather, it was the bottle by my sink. Today, I'm ranking the 9 most popular dish soaps in America from worst to best, using 2026 testing from Consumer Reports, Reviewed, Bob Villa, and independent grease trials. Which ones waste your money and wreck your hands? And which 3 actually earn a spot at your sink? No sponsorships, no brand deals. And here's the twist. The number 1 pick costs less to use than the cheap stuff you're probably buying now. Stay until the end. You'll never walk the soap aisle the same way again. Number 9. Method. The designer bottle that folds the moment real food hits the plate. Method built its identity on looking good on your counter, the sleek pump, the minimalist bottle, the trendy scents. As decor, it's lovely. As dish soap, it's one of the weakest performers on this list. In side-by-side lab testing, Method handled light grease but collapsed on protein and starch, the egg, cheese, dried sauce, and stuck-on rice that cover a real dinner plate. It threw weaker suds than every top performer and left more residue behind, meaning more rinsing and more product per load. Like the rest of the bottom of this list, it leans on dye and fragrance to feel premium instead of actually cleaning like it. Bottom line, beautiful on the counter, helpless against baked-on dinner, the best-looking soap in America, and one of the worst at the one job it has. The next brand doesn't try to look sleek, it tries to look healthy and charges you double for the costume. Number 8. Mrs. Meyers Clean Day, the farmer's market bottle that can't handle your dinner. This is the one you reached for when you decided to be more careful about what comes into your home. The lavender, the basil, the garden lettering, every inch of that bottle engineered to whisper one word. Safe. Here's what the label won't tell you. In hands-on testing, Mrs. Meyers did a decent job on grease but fell apart on starch. The stuck-on rice, potato, and pasta that covers a real plate, worse than almost anything else tested. And it carries one of the heaviest fragrance loads in the category, the exact thing sensitive skin buyers switch to it to escape. On top of that, it often costs double per ounce what Dawn does. Top dollar for garden branding and middle-of-the-pack cleaning. Bottom line, the prettiest label, the highest price, and cleaning that can't keep up with last night's dinner. You paid for the garden, not for clean dishes. The next brand actually cleans well. The problem is what it does to your hands while it works. Number 7. Ajax, industrial strength that comes with industrial irritation. Ajax has one identity, tough, industrial strength. And credit where it's due, it cuts grease better than either brand below it. The citrus formula genuinely breaks down oil. So why is it at number 7? 2 reasons, neither about cleaning. First, the fragrance, one of the most aggressive in the category. Reviewers call it overpowering. Second, the dye. Ajax is heavily dyed, and that combination, strong synthetic fragrance plus heavy dye, is exactly what sets off skin reactions. If your hands go red, tight, and itchy after a sink full of dishes, this is the kind of formula that does it. For anyone over 50, with skin already thinner and drier, it's a nightly assault on your hands. Bottom line, real grease power buried under an overpowering scent and a dye load that leaves sensitive hands raw. Ajax cleans the plate and punishes the person washing it. So that's the bottom 3. But the next group gets personal, because these are household names you've trusted your whole life, and the lab results don't back up the reputation. Number 6. Joy, the diner counter classic running on nothing but memory. My grandmother kept a bottle of Joy on her windowsill for 30 years. For millions of Americans over 55, Joy isn't a soap, it's a memory. Here's what happened while you weren't looking. Joy got bought, sold, and pushed off the main shelves. Today it's a budget brand you mostly find online or in bulk, and the formula reflects it. It still cleans everyday stains, but sits dead center in the pack and leans hard on that famous lemon scent to feel stronger than it is. Your brain reads bright citrus as fresh and assumes it worked hard. It didn't. The kitchen smells like lemon, and the grease is still halfway there. Bottom line, a beloved name doing an average job, coasting on a scent and a memory. Joy isn't bad. It just got quietly passed by everything above it. Sentiment is not cleaning power. The next brand isn't coasting on memory. It's coasting on a feeling it spent decades drilling into your brain. And if you saw my laundry detergent video, you already know how this brand plays the game. Number 5. Gain Ultra, the brand that sells you a scent and calls it clean. Gain doesn't sell dish soap, it sells a smell. That specific, unmistakable Gain scent millions have been conditioned since childhood to read as a clean home. That conditioning is the whole product, the same trick Gain pulls in the laundry aisle, and the reason most people never flip the bottle over. When you do, here's what you find. Gain's dish soap is a middle-tier cleaner wearing a premium scent. It handles light grease but doesn't come close to the real degreasers at the top, and it carries one of the heaviest fragrance loads in the category. Wonderful if you love the smell, a real problem if your skin doesn't, because heavy fragrance is one of the most common triggers for contact irritation, and you're soaking your hands in it every night. And because the scent reads as powerful, you assume the cleaning is too. So when a greasy pan doesn't come clean, you just add more. More product, more fragrance, more money out of the bottle. Bottom line, a mid-tier cleaner hiding behind a world-class marketing scent. Gain perfected the smell of clean without ever perfecting clean itself. You're paying for the feeling, not the function. The next brand has been in American homes since 1879, almost 150 years, and it built that entire empire on one word the formula no longer earns. Number 4. Ivory, the pure brand whose formula tells a different story. Pure, simple, gentle. You've heard those words wrapped around Ivory your whole life. It launched in 1879 on one promise. A soap so pure and gentle, you could trust it for anything, even washing a baby. Here's where the promise and the formula split. Ivory's dish soap is a perfectly average cleaner, middle of the pack, cleaning about as well as a store generic while charging you for 150 years of brand trust. And here's the irony. That gentle formula runs on standard sulfate surfactants, the same workhorse cleaners in most mass-market soaps, and with nightly exposure, sulfates pull moisture out of your skin. The brand that sold itself as gentle can leave your hands just as tight and dry as the rest. I used Ivory a month one winter, assuming pure meant kind to my hands. My knuckles told me otherwise. Bottom line, a century-and-a-half-old promise the modern formula doesn't back up. Ivory sells you the word pure. The performance is plain, and the price is for the story. So that's the middle of the pack. The windowsill memory, the scent in a bottle, the century-old promise that stopped being true. Not disasters, but not worth your money, because everything so far gets beaten, badly, by the 3 brands coming next. And the best one is the cheapest to use in the entire lineup. Now we reach the 3 that actually deserve a place at your sink. After all the scent tricks, the garden labels, and the century-old promises, these earn it on performance, on your skin, and on your wallet. Number 3. 7th generation Free and Clear, the plant-based soap that finally cleans like it means it. For years, eco-friendly meant doesn't really work. 7th generation broke that rule. In independent testing from Bob Vila and Reviewed, it came out as the best performing plant-based dish soap on the market, holding its own against the big chemical brands on everyday stains. The one place it gives ground is heavy bacon grease, where a degreaser like Dawn does better. For everything else, it cleans with the best. Here's why it lands in the top 3, especially for anyone over 50. It's unscented, undyed, and free of the heavy fragrance loads that wreck sensitive skin. None of the nightly irritation that put Ajax and Gain lower on this list. If your hands crack every winter, this soap gives them a break. And let me be straight about the ranking. If your top priority is sensitive skin, you could argue this deserves number 1. We ranked it 3rd because on heavy grease and cost per wash, the 2 brands above it deliver more for most households. Bottom line, real cleaning power, genuinely gentle on your hands. For sensitive skin, it might be the smartest buy on this whole list. The next brand has the opposite reputation. A grocery store workhorse that quietly outperforms soaps costing twice as much. Number 2. Palmolive Ultra, the dark horse that cleans like a premium brand at a budget price. Palmolive is the soap nobody brags about and everybody underestimates. On the bottom shelf at a budget price for decades. Yet, in test after test in 2026, it beats brands charging twice as much. Just soaking dishes in Palmolive Ultra Suds lifts almost every stain off before you even scrub. Reviewers called it one of the most effective dishwashing products on the market, sitting right behind Dawn on grease, a strong 4.5 out of 5. So why isn't it number 1? One honest reason, the smell. Palmolive's original formula has a sharp chemical odor reviewers consistently call out. It cleans like a champion and smells like a chemistry set. If you're scent sensitive, the ultra pure and clear version tones it way down. Bottom line, premium cleaning power at a bargain price. The only thing keeping Palmolive from the crown is its scent. And that brings us to number 1, the most purchased dish soap in America, the one with the baby ducks on the bottle. And, for once, the famous brand absolutely earns the crown. Number 1, Dawn Ultra, the king of grease that's also the cheapest soap to use. Here's the surprise that ends this list. The number 1 soap in America is the one you'd probably guess. But unlike every brand coasting on reputation, Dawn actually deserves its fame. In every grease test that matters, Consumer Reports, Reviewed, Bob Vila, Independent Trials, Dawn Ultra dissolves bacon grease and baked-on oil better than anything else on the shelf. A single drop cuts through dishes that defeat the budget brands. It's the soap they use to clean crude oil off wildlife after spills. That's not marketing. That's a real-world stress test no other dish soap passes. But here's the part the price tag hides. Dawn's concentrated ultra formula delivers 3 times more grease cleaning power per drop than ordinary soap. A small squeeze goes dramatically farther, while cheaper soaps need several extra squirts for the same job. In home tests, budget soaps needed more than twice the product to match Dawn on the same dishes. Let that land. The famous expensive soap has the lowest real cost per sink in the lineup. One bottle lasts months while the bargain stuff disappears in weeks. The soap that costs more on the shelf costs less in your kitchen. Now the honest caveats, because this channel doesn't do blind praise. Dawn is dyed and scented, so for very sensitive skin, the free and clear version or 7th generation treat your hands better. And look for Dawn Ultra or Dawn Platinum, not the watered-down basic lines. Bottom line, the best grease cutter in America, and against all logic, the lowest real cost to use. Dawn didn't earn number 1 through nostalgia or advertising. It earned it every time someone washed a greasy skillet with a single squeeze. The ducks were marketing, the grease test is the truth. So, there it is. 9 soaps, ranked worst to best. But before you grab a bottle, there's a test you can run in your kitchen tonight in under 2 minutes that tells you instantly whether the soap under your sink is helping you or robbing you. That's next. So here's your cheat sheet. Skip Method, Mrs. Meyers, and the bargain store brands. Weak cleaners that cost you more than they look. Be careful with Joy, Gain, and Ivory, middle-tier soaps coasting on a memory, a scent, and a century-old word, and buy these three, seventh generation if your skin is sensitive. Palmolive Ultra for premium cleaning at a bargain price if the scent doesn't bother you. And Dawn Ultra for the best grease cutter in America that also has the lowest real cost per sink. But you don't have to take my word for it. Tonight, in under 2 minutes, you can test the soap under your sink yourself. No equipment, just the truth. The film test. Wash a clear glass with your current soap. Rinse 30 seconds under hot water, let it dry, and hold it to a bright window. Crystal clear means it's probably rinsing clean. A cloudy haze is often soap residue that didn't rinse away, especially with thick, cheap formulas. One honest note. With hard water, some cloudiness can be mineral deposits, so for a fair test, compare against a clean rinsing soap like Dawn. The first time I tried it with my old budget soap, the glass looked like frosted bathroom glass. That was the day I stopped buying the cheapest bottle on the shelf. Run that test tonight. It shows you in 2 minutes what the marketing spent millions to hide. And the money version is just as simple. Next sink of greasy dishes, notice how many squirts it takes before the suds stop dying. A weak budget soap needs squirt after squirt. A real degreaser like Dawn holds with one. That gap across a year is one bottle lasting months instead of weeks. Real money down the drain. Here's the bottom line. The dish soap aisle runs on 3 illusions. Scent that smells like clean but isn't. Dye that looks like power but isn't. And a price tag that looks cheap but isn't. The brands at the bottom mastered all 3. The brands at the top earned it by actually cleaning your dishes. So, tell me in the comments, what's the bottle under your sink right now? One of the 3 that earned a spot, or one coasting on a pretty label? I read everyone. And if this changed how you see the soap aisle, do 2 things. Subscribe and send it to the one person who keeps buying the expensive soap that cleans the worst. You might save them $100 a year and a winter of cracked hands. Next week, the same teardown on the all-purpose cleaning sprays under your sink. The ones that promise the world and mostly spray scented water. You won't believe which famous brand finished last. Stick with Frugal Choice, where spending smart starts with asking better questions.